Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for a new kind of campus tour. My name is Jake, and I'm a proud alum of the Ryerson Sociology Program, class of 2019. Before we begin, I'd like to share a few Zoom housekeeping tips. To ask a question, hover your mouse over the bottom of your Zoom window until you see the horizontal menu and click on the chat box, and a dialog box should open. Type in your question, and a member of our team will answer it. If there's time at the end, we may also answer some of your questions live on camera. If you're experiencing any issues with your video or audio, you can submit a question through the chat box to give us more details so we can help you fix it. A member of our team can troubleshoot with you to ensure you're getting the best possible experience. You can arrange your screen in a way that works best for you. How you arrange your screen doesn't impact anyone else's view, so please feel free to adjust the windows as you see fit. Ryerson is working on an essential services model to help prevent the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. As a result, we'll be walking you through the virtual campus while sharing important information and answering your questions. Information and examples used in this tour do not reflect some current activities like international exchanges, for example. Ryerson is working diligently to provide students with experiences that are effective and while maintaining the health and safety of students, Ryerson community members, and their partners. Now, before I hand it over to our presenter to start the campus tour, I'd like to read a land acknowledgement from the Ryerson University Aboriginal Education Council. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Now, we use this acknowledgement to mark the beginning of important on-campus events and meetings. And even though we're not currently on campus, it's important to us to acknowledge the history of the land on which Ryerson stands, and that the history of North America did not begin when Europeans arrived. That being said, we also understand that acknowledgement is not enough on its own, and our actions moving forward need to be done in good faith and with the goal of advancing truth and reconciliation and for the benefit of Indigenous peoples across the continent. And now I'd like to introduce my esteemed colleagues, Zoe and Martha, to start the presentation. Take it away.
Hi, so like as Jake said, my name's Zoe. Just to give a little insight before we start. So I'm currently in my third year at Ryerson in the biology program. And I'm gonna let Martha introduce herself too.
And I am Martha, and I'm in my fourth year of computer science here at Ryerson.
Okay, so we're gonna hop right in. So the first visual you're seeing on the screen is actually Yonge and Dundas Square. So Toronto has been ranked the most multicultural city in the world by the BBC. So our campus has 146 countries represented and over 80 languages spoken. So Yonge and Dundas Square is a space for community celebration, festivals, promotions, and concerts. So just as a little example, once between class, I was passing through the square and Sephora was doing a promotional event and I got to get free samples. So there's always something going on and that's really great. So since Ryerson is located in the heart of Toronto where students gain placement or internship experiences. So Ryerson actually has a partnership with St. Michael's Hospital where students can be involved in research with masters, PhD, or even doctors at St. Michael's Hospital in a space of over 20,000 square feet. Yonge and Dundas Square is also right next to Bay Street, which is where the financial district is. So our students that are in financial mathematics, math and its applications, they have co-op opportunities in the 4 major banks, insurance companies, and consulting agencies working in risk management. So a little fun fact, which is one of the photos that was just shown, is we actually use the Cineplex Yonge and Dundas Theater. So the movie theater that's there, we actually use it for classrooms. So we rent it out. So you'll have a lot of classes in here. If you get your schedule, it actually shows up as DSQ. One time me and my friend actually bought popcorn and brought it to class. So I mean, there's different ways that you can kind of embrace Ryerson in that sense.
And the next stop is called Nelson Mandela Walk, which is actually the street outside. And it is called Nelson Mandela Walk because Nelson Mandela has an honorary doctorate degree from Ryerson, and he gave a commencement speech in the walkway. So that's a pretty cool kind of event that has gone on at Ryerson. And what we're seeing here is the service hub. Ryerson Service Hub is like a one-stop shop for all like your needs, financial, academic. So now it has switched on to online and over the telephone for both prospective students and current students. But if we were on campus, you'd go to one of these kiosks where either the person in blue, teal, and then the person back there in red there's 2 kiosks. You'd go there, you give them your name and your student number if you're a current student. You'd kind of follow like a little questionnaire to highlight what you need help with, and then you'd get a number, your number would be called, and then you'd go to the back and get that one-on-one help you need with whatever issue you're having. This building, I never actually did say what the building's called. It's the Podium building, and it has a lot of student services, academic classrooms, and offices. So what we actually saw was our campus tours office, which I would so want to be there right now, but throwback. So yeah, we have classrooms, offices, and student services. If we go down the hall, we'd go into Jorgensen Hall, which is just for the Faculty of Arts. But then in the basement of that building, you'd have a bunch of services. One, for example, is the Tri-Mentoring program, which kind of works as it helps with the transition from high school to post-secondary education. So a first-year student would be paired with an upper-year student. And that upper year student would work as a mentor for the first year student. And then when you are an upper year student, you're paired with someone in your industry and they act as your mentor. We also have a career and co-op center. So here they help you with your LinkedIn, with resumes, cover letters, mock interviews. They kind of help you find a job and then prepare for the job you're gonna have, whether that is just outside of school or just for your co-op, and the service you can use for up to 5 years after you graduate. And then we also do have Ryerson Aboriginal Student Services, which provide support for our Indigenous students, both prospective and current. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So our next stop is going to be the Center for Urban Innovation. I'm just going to give her a second to click. So the Center for Urban Innovation, so she's showing you how we're walking across campus. So obviously right now we can just click. In person, you would come out of Jorgensen Hall / Podium and you'd walk across the street, and it's a nice building right across. Okay, so the Center for Urban Innovation is exactly what it sounds like. So it's actually a collaborative research space for problem solving urban infrastructure issues. So like alternative energy, water management, and smart urban infrastructure. So there's a whole bunch of labs and centers in here that go from food research to data analytics to even nutrition discovery labs. So one really cool partnership that's actually in here is Ryerson Urban Water partners with WWF Canada, I always get that wrong, to reduce salt levels on campus during the winter. So they came up with an innovative solution. So this actually reduced the amount of salt we have by 4,000 kilograms. And it actually used over 150 students. So this building, as you can see, is a common theme as we go through the tour. Ryerson likes to add on to buildings instead of rebuild buildings. So we like to try and keep the history and the character of the building. So that's why you see kind of a brick, and then it kind of looks all shiny and new on this side, because that's basically Ryerson adding, because obviously we need to keep up with the times, but we keep what was there before.
And now we're just gonna walk on over to the quad / Kerr Hall area. So it's right across, I think the street is what we're showing. So being safe, you'd have to go to the cross light. So it'd take you maybe 2 or 3 minutes to get to the quad from the Center of Urban Innovation. So the quad is the biggest green space on campus. It's kind of like the heart of Ryerson's campus where a lot of things always go on. So usually we would have a lot of orientation week activities happening here in previous years. In the beginning, maybe a week or two, we'd have the student groups and clubs kind of promoting themselves, trying to recruit new students to join their clubs. As we do have like 80+ clubs at Ryerson for basically everything. The great thing about our quad is that the Wi-Fi connects straight to the middle. So if you want to be like that and sit right in the middle of the quad to watch YouTube videos, Netflix, work on assignment, you can do that. Our Wi-Fi is like the same for all around campus, so you're never like re-logging in. So you could be just walking from class to class connected to Spotify if you don't have premium like myself. So it's great because the Wi-Fi is everywhere. Um, yeah. And then Kerr Hall is the building around the quad. It's split up into 4 parts: Kerr Hall North, East, South, and West. But as science students, our Kerr Hall area is Kerr Hall East. We've had a $4 million renovation to our science labs with equipment that is used in the industry today. And the Faculty of Science does have $5 million in research funding, which science students can be involved in right from the first year. So I think that's it for Kerr Hall, unless you have something to add, Zoe.
I just wanted to mention one thing just before you move on. As a science student, you'll probably spend most of your time in Kerr Hall. So don't worry if you do get lost within Kerr Hall. It is kind of confusing, especially like the 4 quadrants, but it's just, you're going to become very familiar with the building, and it's actually connected to buildings on both sides as well, which will show you the bridge at the end that you can walk almost from one side to the other side of campus, all indoors. So we're going to head to Gold Street, or the engineering building. Martha, do you want to do the engineering building?
Sure, I'll talk about the engineering building because it's kind of like the hub for not only engineering, but the full name is George Barrier Engineering and Computing Center, because you have computer science labs there as well. So from the quad, it would be maybe like a 5-minute walk max, depending on your speed, pedestrians in front of you, all that. So 5 minutes tops. And the second floor is home to like computer science. So you'd have your labs there. There's a lot of the research labs where your professors and teaching assistants use. So we have research being done in artificial intelligence, data science, robotics. There's just a bunch of things going on. A really cool thing that I actually volunteered for was a robotics project that's going on, and it's for public safety. It is a robot that helps defuse bombs that we got from the Toronto police, and we're kind of just making it a little better. I saw that robot. Good thing that we are improving it. So that's something really cool. You can email a professor or a teaching assistant and ask if they have any volunteer opportunities, and most times they do. Which is really cool to get experience for your resume to put under the volunteer kind of portion of your resume, or to talk about in your cover letter. Because from my personal experience, it's one of the biggest talking points I've had at a previous interview for an internship. That's my take on engineering building.
Okay, so now we're gonna head to Gold Street. So Gold Street it runs all the way through campus, so it's kind of one of the main intersections that we have. Yeah, she's showing you right there. It goes right east to west all the way across. So basically it is now a pedestrian-only street at Ryerson that we try and bring a close-knit kind of family sense to Ryerson. We also have farmers markets, we have patio furniture. Right behind that really massive rock is Lake Debo, which we'll see in a second as well. So currently, if you go on campus right now, it's actually under construction. There's fences, and this is because it's undergoing a campus core revitalization project. I always mix up those words. So basically what you're going to see changing is it's going to be permanently pedestrian only. So before, it used to be alternate between cars and pedestrian only. So we always have to kind of look out for that. And we're actually raising the street level so that it's more accessible and again promotes the pedestrian only. Outdoor event infrastructure, so we're going to be seeing more seating, more stuff for programming, and enhanced facility community gatherings and connections. So basically places that you can sit outside with your friends, or if you're meeting a professor, it's a little nicer outside than inside in their office, depends on how well you know them. And over nearly 15,000 large shrubs, perennials, and grasses will be planted in the project area that are native to the area. So basically we're trying to make it more green, even though we are right downtown in the middle of in the middle of Toronto. So at Ryerson, the city is our classroom, so that's why we're also trying to improve it, is we're trying to make everything around our campus able for our students to learn. So what she's showing you right now is Lake Debo. Usually there's water in here, and then yeah, this little indent right here. there's a picture of people skating on it too. So sometimes you'll get figure skaters or the hockey students will come out. I once saw a kid run and slide all across the ice to try and get to class faster. So I mean, whatever, it's always open to the public. We actually have the Zamboni from Nathan Phillips Square come and do it every morning.
So speaking on that, Ryerson, at Ryerson, the city is our classroom. Being downtown Toronto does give our students a big advantage because, as Zoe has mentioned, we do have a lot of partnerships and students have done co-ops with a lot of companies downtown. For example, students in medical physics have had co-ops in Princess Margaret Hospital, St. Michael's Hospital, and Sunnybrook. We've had our financial mathematics students in TD, RBC, and Scotiabank. Our chemistry students have had co-ops in companies like Petro-Canada, Johnson & Johnson, and MAC Cosmetics. And in computer science, we've had students do co-ops in IBM, Amazon, again, those banks, TD, RBC, and Scotiabank, and as well as Environment Canada. I know my friend is actually doing his 16-month co-op term at Environment Canada right now, which is really cool, because I didn't know that there were co-ops offered like that. Yeah. And then I think our next up will be the Sheldon and Tracy Leving Student Learning Center, which at Ryerson we will call SLC. So it's just down Gould Street. So from Lake Depot, it'll take you maybe 2 minutes to get there. Again, depending on your speed and pedestrian traffic. Something to note at Ryerson, we do like to abbreviate all our buildings. So as you notice, the engineering building is called ENG, the Student Learning Center is SLC. So we just kind of like to take the first letter of each word in the building's name. So the SLC is 8 floors of student space, both for studying, working on assignments, and just a place for students to hang out and relax between classes. And each floor does have its own theme, starting with the top floor, it's the sky. So you see you have like blue and white, so white for the clouds and blue for the sky, with the windows that span from the ceiling to the floor so you can see the whole skyline. So you have this collaborative workspace, as well as these like rooms that have like that milky glass where you can rent out typically, before all this, you could rent out those rooms for a little bit more privacy if you want to work on a group project or group study. And then just down the hall, you have like those individual cubby spaces for individual studying, which I usually just like to work on assignments or write notes. For those kind of things, I can have a little bit of background noise, but then when I'm fully studying, I'd go to the 7th floor because it's a fully silent floor, but that's just me, my way of studying. And then going to the 6th floor, which is the beach. Unfortunately, there is no water and sand, but we tried our best. We have the blue carpeting for the water and then the yellow like floor tiles to represent the sand. So you have the beanbag chairs, the lounge chairs. A really cool fact about this is that our interior design students had, they helped out with the furniture and the layout of this floor, which is also how we like to get our students involved on things going on campus, because it's not just Ryerson's campus, it is our campus. So that's a really cool fact. So this floor, I personally do not recommend studying on. It gets really loud. Unless that's your type of environment, I would just recommend watching YouTube videos, grabbing a snack, or talking with your friends and hanging out. And then going to the 4th floor, which is called the garden. It has our accommodation center as well as the student learning support. So if you ever do need accommodations for exams or assignments, you'd come talk to them and they'd help you out with that whole process. And then we have, with the student learning support, we have like writing English essay support, learning tutoring type of thing, and as well as math tutoring if those two aren't your strong suits. For example, my strong suit is not essay writing, which I have a 7-page essay due in 2 months, which I'm gonna try to access this service so they can help me out. We also do in our library have a service that helps you out with citations. So is it MLA or APA, or if you need help finding those scholarly articles. And then this is those people, the virtual reality glasses, the VR. It's in our DME. We have this thing called DME on the 3rd floor of the SLC, where they're super techy. There's 3D printing, there's virtual reality. Sometimes they have like coding workshops or like boot camps, which is really cool, especially if you want to learn or just kind of, if you didn't quite understand something in class, especially as a computer science student, you could go access these services and kind of just improve those skills that you already know, which is really cool. I actually went there because I didn't understand something going on in C, like the language C, and a student actually helped me out. He wasn't in computer science, but he still helped me out, which is really cool. Yeah. Anything to add, Zoe?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one thing. So Martha did say that you have to rent out the study rooms, and by no means are you paying for them. Basically, it's just an online, basically it's an online system that just, it tells you if that room is available or not. So that's why you have to book it ahead of time. Typically, I recommend do book them ahead of time. If you try and book it for like the time that you're actually going at that moment, there's most likely nothing there because everyone kind of drops in. A fun little story. So the SLC and the library both have study rooms. The SLC has more, I like to call them shiny study rooms. So it's more whiteboards versus like the chalkboards that are in the library. So the SLC, there's some rooms that have floor to ceiling whiteboards, and the table's a whiteboard and the chairs are whiteboards, like everything is a whiteboard. And a funny little story is that's actually how me and my friend passed first year physics, is we wrote all the equations on the top of all the way around the wall, and then we kind of just went to each question along the wall and kept going and doing it that way. So it's a very good way to actually learn with people and to just get all your ideas out there, and I would definitely recommend using those. So we are going to head to zone learning. So zone learning is unique to Ryerson. So what it's showing you right now is the sandbox. So basically we have 10 zones on campus, which are business incubators, and they're open to all students, not just entrepreneurs. So it's also open cross faculty. So being in the Faculty of Science, I can join the fashion zone. It does not matter. It actually promotes I always get this word wrong, interdisciplinary collaboration. That's what I'm trying to say. So it helps you learn how to convey your science ideas, say, to a fashion student. Like, how are you going to do that if they haven't taken 3 years of science like you have? So you're definitely going to need that in the workplace, but it just goes to show that anyone at Ryerson can do absolutely anything. So we have over 3,500 startups incubated to date. 40% of our members are actually female on average. We have over $750 million in funding raised, which has created over 4,000 jobs, and we have over 5,200 members and alumni. I know that was a lot of numbers that I threw at you, but it's basically showing you the magnitude of kind of the amount of effort that Ryerson has put into these incubator zones. So some examples are, if you know of this, if you've been on the subway downtown, you've seen the posters for the jewelry brand Missouri. So it's actually a jewelry company which has a focus on e-commerce and social media sales, and they actually raised $29 million in venture funds and make it a priority to hire women. So that was actually started at Ryerson as well. Another one is Inkbox, which does semi-permanent tattoos, and Stranger Things actually reached out to them, so they make all the tattoos for Stranger Things as well, and now they have their own shop. I think it's on King Street. So these are just examples of some of the companies that have come out of Ryerson. Martha, did you want to add anything?
I think you've covered it actually pretty well with the DMC. And actually, I think the zone learning was our last stop. So for myself and Zoe, this is our end, and we're going to pass it back to Jake for him to close it off.
All right. Thanks so much to Zoe and Martha for such a great session. I know I learned a lot personally. So we're now going to shut down our audio and video, meaning that you won't be able to see or hear us, but we'll still be online until the end of the hour to answer any questions you may have. So feel free to submit those questions through the Q&A up until the end of the hour. A reminder that recordings of all of our virtual open house sessions will be available on our website later on in October. However, this will not include the typed Q&A, so I encourage you to make note of any answers to your questions before the webinar ends. We will be hosting another virtual open house the weeks of November 9th and November 16th, which will feature program information sessions for each of our undergraduate programs, and we hope to see you there. On behalf of Ryerson University, thank you once again for joining us today, and we hope to see you in other sessions this week. Take care, everyone.